Alright, welcome back to Satisfactory. In the last episode, we were able to set up a small generator factory, setting us up with an extra 1,000 megawatts of capacity, 2,000 megawatts of capacity, essentially doubling our capacity here for all of our factories. And in this episode, I've got a couple of plans in mind. The first thing we'll need to do, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to build a hypertube from this to the hub. So I'll meet you back over once I get that connected. Okay, I ran out of materials while building it, so I will finish building it in a bit, but it's set up to right there. So there's a few things I want to get done. I want to set up a way to build or start building plastic and rubber. Those are resources that we're definitely running into a need for quite often. I'd also like to unlock the manufacturer so that we can start building our phase 3 into 4 parts, along with unlocking pretty much everything else. Fluid packaging is definitely higher up on the list than I think anything else, just so I can start getting fuel for the jetpack. But there are a couple things that I noticed while I was playing in my last session. So I'll meet you here at the stator factory, where you'll notice that we are full up on stators. So the reason I wanted to head over here is to grab some of them. It's not bad that that's backed up, just because that means our steel pipes are being put into storage, but obviously only one of the inputs is set to go to storage, while these two are technically being funneled off here. I'm not going to fix that. I don't really mind that it is backed up, because that's pretty much what this is meant to do. Is it's just dedicated to now that I'm thinking about it, we'll set this to overflow into the crates here, just for simplicity's sake. Unfortunately, that does mean that this crate will fill up pretty quickly, but I'm okay with that. Anyway, so back over to the space elevator parts. Looks like we just need to add some cables, but I'm going to throw some stators in as well. I'm going to need to run off and grab some cables quickly, but making some more automated wiring is definitely a good start to the space elevator. You can see we've already got a bunch of smart plating also ready to be turned into something else. And the versatile framework is just waiting on steel beams, which I am a little bit low on right now, but I'll go check and see if I have enough that I can toss a few more in. So we'll be back shortly. Okay, turns out I had a bunch of steel beams over at the Encased Industrial Beam Factory, because I am full up on Encased Industrial Beams apparently. So we're gonna throw probably all but like 2 stacks in here. It's not much, but it will continue to make that versatile framework, which we're going to need a lot of. And then for the cables, I grabbed a bunch. I'll keep a couple stacks on me just to be safe, even though I am uploading them, so it's not the end of the world if I run out. But that will continue making some more automated wiring. As for the smart plating, I have a little bit. We might as well make some. What's the other thing that it needs? Rotors. I have a ton of rotors. Not sure how many I have on me. But I'll take from the depot, since they are being uploaded anyway. I shouldn't need them in the exact near future by the time more upload. Cool, so that's more of the space elevator parts being made. Obviously the versatile framework is the one that we probably should invest a little bit more time into, even though we don't need that many of them. 2,500 is still going to take a little while at 5 per minute. So getting those done sooner rather than later is kind of always a good option. And of course, the smart plating and the automated wiring you need for your adaptive control units and your modular engines. So easier to make those now rather than later. So we'll let those run. Again, I didn't make that to essentially, like, I wasn't trying to finish phase 3 anytime soon, but I figure we should start making those things now so we don't run into the problem we ran into in update 8, where I had to sit around and not do anything for a few hours while I waited for everything to finish. Moving on, I also need some copper sheets. Okay, that is the hypertube connected to the fuel generators. And we'll be able to get over there quickly, and that is just where we're headed, because we're hoping to stop sinking off our polymer resin, and we want to start utilizing it. So in order to do that, we'll need to find water.
Are you a temple?
If I had a body, it would be a temple.
You have no body?
I don't think we're on the same line here.
You see lines where there are curves, shallows where there are depths, consume our blood.
I will continue gathering data, I suppose.
So while looking around, I noticed that there was some water here, and I just need a deep enough stagnant point to start building at. So kind of two options would be to either go upstream or downstream, and I think this area might work. No, it won't. Okay. So I think going upstream is probably the better way to go. Usually upstream will lead you to water. Pool of some sort, a lake. And it looks like this is what we're being rewarded with here. Now, first I should check and see if there's just an oil deposit already here, which it looks like there is. But there's a few actually. So we have a normal node here, and not too far away, we've got an impure and an impure node. So I could just turn this into a place for rubber and plastic. Then it would just be a matter of sinking off any petroleum coke that we make. But I think what I'm actually going to do is turn this into another power facility. Since we have water nearby, it'll be a lot easier to utilize the any of the polymer resin. I couldn't think of the name of it for the life of me. Any of the polymer resin that we are pulling out. So, and we'll be able to get a little bit more power, which is always something that we will be looking for. So there's no reason not to go for it. So one normal node means 2 refineries. I will set them to fuel. And up here in front, so going this way, we will build our secondary refineries. And I don't remember how many we'll need. So it's 60 polymer resin per minute. These will be making 30 per minute. So to be able to use plastic, or to get plastic and rubber out of this, we'll just make 2 separate ones, but we'll set them to half speed so the polymer resin can stay in line with it. Then going this way, we should just be able to build technically 4 fuel generators, but I'm just going to build 2 and do the same thing we did with the last ones. I will be making 80 fuel per minute. They go through 20 a minute each. We'll set 2 up. Here we go. I'm not gonna put a buffer on this. Am I gonna put a buffer on this? Maybe a small buffer, just to be safe. We'll just put a small buffer here, just so there's no issues with any backup on the pipelines. A couple junctions here. I'm off my game for setting stuff in the correct place right now. Pipes in. And it's just a matter of hooking this up to the power. Go. So I'll set this one to make residual rubber, set it to make 10 rubber per minute. That will only take in 20 polymer resin. We'll set this one to make the plastic, same thing, 10 per minute. Then we'll just need a... I think I put this a little too close. Let me see if I can fix that. It's gonna look a little weird, but that's okay. Okay, these can get connected. So, actually bring the used ones out just a little bit. Alright, and then we'll just need a water extractor right here. Shouldn't need any head lift, it should have enough. It only needs to pump 20 meters of, 40 water per second, so I'll set it to 45. And now it's just about everything getting hooked up. So get everything on a few power poles. And the good thing is that if I could produce about 180 megawatts of power, which I can, pretty easily actually with a few biomass burners. 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 30 each, correct? Yeah, 30. And that will be 180. Technically, they don't need to be 180. I just need to start each one somewhat individually until the fuel starts going in. In fact, I can actually turn these off for the time being, especially because the polymer resin is going to take a little bit to start going in. I don't think that'll tell me how much power I need now. Of course not. But I can take the biofuel that I have, split it into 6 stacks. I might have to just go make some by hand as well. Make sure everything stays on. Okay, and then we can hook it up to this power pole. Everything should turn on now. Crude oil should start pumping. Once the fuel starts going into the generators, I can turn those off. So I don't know that I'll have enough of what I need. I should get rid of this one, because I actually know that I don't need it. Probably this one too. I think this will be enough. I don't remember how much the refineries are. They're 30, so 60. The water extractor I think is 20, so 80. So I think 100 should do it, and I have 120 here. So we can fill a couple of these a little bit higher to hopefully keep them on. And I just need the generators to fill up enough that they can keep themselves on. Like, it is pretty steady, so I can leave these running. I'm not too worried about using up all my biofuel, but I can turn these on now. So that they can start taking the polymer resin in along with the water extractor. Looks like we're doing okay. I'm going to take the biomass burners off now. Make sure that everything is running without them. We'll let these guys fill up a little bit, and then on the other side of these guys, we'll get our industrial storages down. Nothing too fancy for these. And because these are so far away from the hub, I'm actually going to set up dimensional depots for them. Especially because plastic and rubber are materials that you do need pretty often in your building process. So I'd like to have them available to me as often as possible. There we go. So those are now uploading. Have a small storage of them as well as needed. And I'm going to stick around for a little bit, make sure that everything uploads okay, there's no issues anywhere, and I will meet you back at the hub. I came to realize that the rubber only uses 20 polymer per minute, while the plastic uses 30, so I'm created an excess of, or I have an excess of 10 polymer resin currently. I guess the easiest way to fix that is to set this to 35 and this to 25, and they should still be making the same amount. So I think for this, that would be 12.5 per minute. 11.75 per minute. It'll be 11.5 per minute. 11.6 repeating per minute. And I'll have to adjust the water as well. And this one did the same thing. Is this 12.5 per minute? Yes. Okay, so now we're using the 60. We're making 12.5 rubber per minute. 11.667. Then the water flow will need to be bumped up. We're using 25, 36 point something. I think I had it too high in the first place. We'll just set it to 40. That seems reasonable. Yeah, and I'm just going to keep sticking around, making sure that everything is working good.
Power switch unlocked. Fixit is proud to announce that the power switch facilitates power grid management through the application of the very latest advances in on-off switch technology. Fixit. It's fun to have power.
Yeah, I figured grabbing the power switches while I was here was a good option, so that I can link when I link this back. Should everything shut down, this can actually continue running and I won't have any issues. I may go back and throw power switches on some of the other factories, but for right now I don't think I'm hanging on to that. Looks like everything is running pretty efficiently, so we can go ahead and set these up. That'll be an extra 1,000 watts in our power supply, minus the 135 it takes to keep all of this running, of course. But the main focus of it was to get the plastic and the rubber uploaded into the dimensional depot, so I'll meet you back at the hub. All right, we're back here at the hub. Considering just finishing fluid packaging, considering putting everything in for the manufacturer. The main reason I'm being a little indecisive is we don't have a ton of plastic, but I guess while we wait, we can finish fluid packaging.
Milestone reached. Avoid the embarrassment of placing liquids in your pockets only for them to spread across your suit. Package and unpackage them with the packager. Packaging fluids allows them to be transported in your inventory, on conveyor belts, and by vehicles. For increased, non-pocket related fluid storage, you can now use the industrial fluid buffer.
Why does it say that you get the industrial fluid buffer with that? Don't you get it with... Yeah, that must be a thing that they missed. You don't actually get the industrial buffer from fluid packaging anymore. You get it from petroleum power. But, you know, not a big deal. So the reason I wanted to grab that, partially because I already had everything I need for it, and partially because I wanted to start utilizing some of this fuel to have fuel for my jetpack. So the easiest way to go about that for right now will just be go over here, we make a packager. Actually, so one of the tough things about the packager, of course, is that you have to fill it with plastic to be able to get the case for it. Now I do have this extra oil node that I could be using for that. It's not a terrible idea. Let's just see what it would require really quick. Reading 60 per minute into a refinery would be 30. We'd need 2. Make 20 plastic per minute. It's just always the residual. One of the reasons I don't like making plastic and rubber this way is the heavy oil residue. It's not that you can't do anything with it. It's just that it takes a lot of effort to do stuff with it. So you have to turn it into petroleum coke. Then the petroleum coke you usually will sink off just because like the only purpose for it is kind of fuel. So I think what I'm gonna do is I kind of have this method where I will my pipeline like so. We'll make packaged fuel. Then I will put a. This is super temporary, by the way. I just need enough fuel to fill my depot and my like a stack in my inventory. I would say would be enough. And then we grab a constructor. This will make our empty canisters. Toss the plastic in. Hook both of these up to a pole. And we'll just leave it like this, so like we don't need to do too much else. Once I have a bit more plastic, I'll come over, drop some more in here, and fill this the rest of the way up. Once I have enough packaged fuel that I can have a full dimensional depot of it and a stack in my inventory, I think that'll be enough. I'll tear this down and we'll have a... by then, hopefully, we'll be able to build a little bit of a better fuel manifester, I guess. So next on my list... So we have plenty of power. We're probably about double of what we need, give or take. Yeah, we're using about 2,500. Our capacity is about 5,000. So other than plastic, let's head back over to the hub. And I have pretty much everything I need already, except for the plastic to unlock the manufacturers. So I'm gonna go grab everything that I can quickly, and I'm gonna buy the rest of what I need here from the awesome shop, just to save myself some time. I'm not running low on resources to sink off at all. Although there are a couple of things that I actually would like to buy, like the floor hole, but I do typically spend most of my points on parts. That definitely has not changed. But let's unlock the manufacturer because I want to get this done this episode.
Milestone reached. Manufacturers can receive up to 4 inputs for the production of complex parts, such as computers and heavy modular frames, but most importantly the 2 new project parts. The modular engine and adaptive control unit are essential for the development of Phase 3 of Project Assembly. You are making good progress. The future is starting to look bright.
Cool. And the reason I want to get the manufacturer has been running because I know these project parts actually take quite a while, and I also don't remember what they necessarily need. So I'd like to at least start on one of them. So let's take a look. So our modular engines, we're going to need motors, rubber, and smart plating. Our adaptive control units will need automated wiring, circuit boards, heavy modular frames, and computers. I obviously cannot start building this. This I could technically start building. The rubber is going to probably be the biggest opposition to myself here. Obviously everything else we're already pretty comfortably making. And this is one that I do need quite a lot of course. So I'm gonna take this down temporarily, and we're gonna head back over to our power factory, because of course we do still have 2 unutilized nodes that we can take advantage of here. So I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and put down our oil extractor. With this, we will make a refinery. Pretty standard so far. We'll have it making rubber. And the rubber will go into a storage container. Nothing too fancy. I'll go ahead and hook these up preemptively so they can start running. And the question is, what do I want to do with the heavy oil residue? I think... So we can't just turn it into residual fuel. I didn't realize. But what would that look like? Our pipeline. Maybe we run it like this, I suppose. It's gonna be a little messy. I'm not intending for this to be my long-term solution to needing more rubber. But I just want to get something up and running here. How much residual fuel did we get from this? We need 60 heavy oil residue. We're producing 20. I think we can make 2 of these though, because this is running 30 per minute and this makes 60. So we can double this up. Should give us 40 residue per minute. Yeah. Should be 80 fuel per minute. It's just a matter of what do you do with the fuel afterwards, because like I can technically just throw it into here. We could add a couple more generators to the end of this. And that would be, I mean, 80 fuel is 4 more generators that we can stack onto this. And it's not a terrible idea. Okay, let's take all of this down. I think what we're gonna do actually is we'll put the oil extractor here facing this way. Let's see if I can build so. We'll put 2 refineries here. They're both going to be making rubber. That is, I do technically need plastic right now, but I think I'm okay with how much I'm currently producing. And I would prefer, because your modular engines, they require 15 rubber per, and you need 500 of them. So to make 500, you would need 7,500. That's basically like a full container, I believe, of an industrial container. So I want to get that as soon as possible. So that will take care of those. Hook all of these up for right now. Then my idea was that these would be a little bit farther away, actually. Let's try right here. so rubber, rubber. Then these would feed into singular refinery with a, let's be a little bit further up, I guess. Junction here. Guess there's no straight function for this. This will be making residual fuel. We'll set it to 27.5 per minute. We'll set it to 27 per minute. We'll set it to 26 per minute. 26.3 repeating per minute. 0.6 repeating per minute. Okay. We'll set it to 26 repeating per minute. These guys need power. Go. All the oil should be filling up now, and that'll give us an extra 26.6 repeating residual fuel, which we can throw into our pipeline. That'll make us 1 extra generator's worth of fuel. So I can actually just up this guy to 3, and we will still have a little bit of overflow for the excess fuel, but not the end of the world at all. Let that fill up. Then for the rubber, make an industrial storage here. Right where I wanted it. We can actually just feed this one in so. This one is going to be a little bit flipping, but that's just because I couldn't really make a straight pipe. Cool, so that'll add an additional 40 rubber per minute to our builds. This is all intended to go to the manufacturers, so I can make our modular engines. But the extra little bit of power that we'll be getting from it is definitely nothing to be upset about. So that'll give us an extra 125 watts of power, megawatts of power. The fluid buffer will probably end up overfilling at some point, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. We might have to flush a few of the pipes somewhere down the line, but at least we are making a little bit extra rubber at the moment, so we can build that into our modular engines. That's going to bring us to building the computers, the hard drives, all of that fun stuff. I did finish a hard drive scan, pure iron ingots, encased industrial pipe. I don't really need industrial pipes. The recycled rubber, I looked at this earlier and I just don't understand why you would ever want to use your fuel and your plastic to make a rubber. I mean, I guess it's a lot of rubber, but and quick wire stators, not really anything that I need. I could consider rescanning these now. I kind of want the hard drive recipe, or sorry, the circuit board recipe that allows you to use petroleum coke, because I think that recipe is a lot better than the standard one of the 2 plastic and 1 copper sheet. And circuit boards are the thing that I want to be building next, I think. Just not sure if it's worth rescanning now or if I should go hunt down some more hard drives for it. I guess I'll rescan these now, see what we get. Bio coal, flexible, don't care about those. Rigor mortar, rigor motor, and recycled rubber. So this is kind of what I was saying before, like if you rescan your hard drives at the wrong time, I ended up getting a recipe that I already had access to before. Obviously there's nothing I could do because I rewrote this one first, but it is what it is, right? So we'll leave those in. I don't think I want any of those recipes. I don't think we're quite at the point where I can end the episode just yet, but I think anything I would want to do from this point forward is going to take a little bit too long. Give me a couple minutes, I'll decide, see if there's anything that I can rig together here in the last few minutes. Alright, one more thing we can do at the end of the episode here. So you notice that I took these screws, I'm not sure if I put this in the episode, but I took the screws off of the sink over there and started having them go into these storages. These are the storages that feed the rotor factory that feeds the motor factory. Obviously, we're still kind of struggling for screws to get into the pipeline here. Unfortunately, that is just a build issue, I think. Like, I don't think there's anything I can really do to fix that outside of having this feed, like one belt feed 3 and then another belt filled 3 more, which I could do. Anyway, the reason I came over here is because if you look here at our iron ingots, we are severely backed up, and I don't actually know why. So down here we're using 50. Up there I think we have 5 constructors. Yeah, so we would be using 62.5, and we're making 120. Now these aren't actually backed up, it looks like. It looks like these are actually... this one is, because it is feeding directly into the empty, or the very back of the line. But yeah, so at 30, 30, 90, 120 minus the 50, we have 70, and then 62.5. So we're overproducing about 7.5 per minute. Excuse me, we're overproducing about 7.5 per minute. And that's a pretty easy fix, so I can throw another constructor here at the end of the line. Now, the difficult part of this is going to be reload balancing everything. Because obviously this is load balanced. It's already... Actually, it shouldn't be that hard, because I should just be able to disconnect this and this. Disconnect these. Put this here, I think. I missed it by 1. Here, 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 and... what is this? Why is it not letting me... I put this backwards. Nice. And this. And this should be load balanced correctly now, I think. Quote me on that. And that should also help with the one in the back that it's been overflowing a bit. But that will help with this as well. I'm going to plug these back into the system. And I'm going to let this kind of dry itself out in a sense. So it's going to... it's going to run out of ingots. But the reason I'm doing that is so that it can catch back up. Because if I just go ahead and set this to use 7.5, I'm still going to have a backup of ingots in my system. So I'm going to allow it to continue overproducing my screws for a bit, and then once these start to kind of falter off a bit and my smelters are completely caught up, I will set it to the correct number. I was kind of hoping that was going to take a little longer than it did. Let's see if there's a way I can balance the factory a little bit better. I still don't think that I am producing enough screws for this. I think These are doing 300 per minute, and each of these is 195. So technically I should only be able to make like 2 of these at a time, but I have a huge backup of screws, or at least I had a huge backup of screws. I'm about halfway depleted. I guess with this I'm probably producing maybe 325. So that's only going to really assist 2. That'll only be enough for like 2 of these because of how much they're going through. I don't really think there's a way for me to realistically balance this properly. I think it's just one of those things that once I run out of screws, I'll be screwed. Really much I can do, right? I think. Of course, once the motors are fully backed up, it won't matter because this will inevitably fill up both of the containers and they'll all be set behind. But that is going to take some time. We're only about, not even really halfway done filling up the motors. Obviously the stators are pretty backed up. Yeah, not really much we can do about it, right? I just have to let it be what it is. Yeah, I think we're going to use this opportunity to end the episode. Like I said, I think it's going to be a pretty short episode. If it's less than a half an hour, I will tack on some of the next episode. I'm not sure how I'll kind of circumvent that, but I will find a way to make it a little bit more even. Either way, thank you so much for watching. It is very much appreciated, and I will catch you in the next one.